This is the Squawka Report. How serious that was. We're joined by Squawka Dave. He's got a load of Squawka stats to tell us all about the man we've bid a derisory and insulting amount for. That is...
Squawka Fellaini. Marouane Fellaini.
Yeah, Fellaini. Do we want him?
I think we do. I think he'll add a lot to our side in terms of flexibility. Could play him in Europe against the big sides. I wouldn't want to play against a big man with a big afro.
Very true.
Got goal scoring ability. Last season scored 11 goals, obviously for Everton. 10 of them coming from inside the box. In terms of headed goals last season, only Michu scored more goals with the head last season. He scored 6 goals ahead, while Fellaini scored 5. So in terms of that, that'll bring a lot to our side. Maybe set pieces wise, we scored at United. We scored 26 goals from set pieces last season. So I think
straight off the training ground.
Straight off the training ground, we could bring Fellaini in, another big man. The quality of Van Persie, the quality of Rooney's delivery. That's more goals for us.
So do you think Moyes would bring him in and use him in that attacking role that he played last year?
I'd say
maybe defensive.
I'd say more attacking, maybe. Looking at his appearances last year, he played attacking midfield more than he played central midfield. Played attacking midfield 28 times. So I reckon Moyes would bring him in and play him in the 10 role, just off the striker, getting the ball up, bringing it down, playing someone like Kagawa in. That
so
sort of.
You have to wonder if we're bringing him in, we're spending a lot of money on him, even though we've initially gone for derisory and insulting amounts. And you imagine him in that 10 role. What does that mean for Rooney? What does that mean for Kagawa?
Well, it means a change of style. From the weekend against Swansea, we played a lot more direct. We were hitting our front men, playing it into their feet. We were turning Van Persie, playing it back to a play. It was a different style. It was a change up. Yeah. One of the goals we scored, same as the Community Shield, where ball came out. Rio Ferdinand played it up to one of our strikers. I think it was Van Persie straight to Welbeck. Then we played it out wide to Evra. Evra ball into the box. Bit of a mix up, and then Danny Welbeck finished it off. It's that sort of style.
See, I would happily take him at the club because he's obviously a very good player and he brings a lot. Defensively as well as attacking, and particularly at set piece threats. But like as you were saying, in Europe, those kind of big games where he's very aggressive. But that's one of the kind of drawbacks for me. He's a good player, but he's sometimes a bit too aggressive. I don't hate him as a player. That would be a strong word to use, but I really didn't like him. I lost a lot of respect for him. Yeah, particularly around Christmas when he punched Ryan Shawcross like 3 times in one match. And he got called on it, obviously, and afterwards he was going, "Oh, I'm sorry." But I think that's shocking behaviour on a football pitch. I'd be so embarrassed if he played for us and ended up like getting sent off or like lots of press because he was elbowing people. And
do you remember against Bolton when Nani did that head-to-head thing and then fell on the floor? That was.
I know what you mean. Not West Ham.
Was West Ham?
Lucas Neely did it.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, that was embarrassing.
That was shocking. I
feel really bad after
that.
Had
a bit of an
annoyance. If we buy you Fellaini, don't do that because we won't be very happy about it. Yeah.
Here's a Squawka stat for you.
Hit us.
Only Grant Holt committed more fouls than Marouane Fellaini last season. Exactly. So it is adding that aggression, that tenacity. I think it's since Roy Keane we haven't had someone
as well. Yeah, there are massive
scare people.
Something I would say. Do you think in modern football is there a place still for that player, for that Roy Keane player? Because if you look at the successful teams at the minute in Dortmund and Bayern Munich and Barcelona, they don't really have that sort of biting, snarling central midfielder.
It's more.
If we can't get a good side, they're just going to pass it round him, aren't they?
It's more of you don't notice these players these days. There's players like Busquets who's going to be winning the ball, picking it up deep. Little niggly fouls, diving, all sorts of.
But they're a bit more. They're the same kind of players, except they're a bit less aggressive and a bit more silky. Again, using Busquets as an example, he's a very niggly player, but he's also a great passer of the ball, as well as Xavi Martinez at Bayern Munich.
How does Fellaini do at passing? So that's passing.
Passing wise, he hasn't got. As the player that he was playing at that 10 role, his passing it's not great. He's got 79% pass accuracy, created 40 chances last season and got 5 assists.
Can you compare that to somebody? Anyone?
Anderson, maybe? No, we'll not go on to that. We'll leave Anderson.
Love Anderson.
In terms of
just for like a general overview.
You're looking at players that are playing that 10, that David Silva, Mata, someone like that. But with Fellaini, his game's different. It's more about Moyes. It was more about get the ball up into that attacking zone, get the ball to Fellaini, he'll lay it off to a creative player. It's sort of like reinventing the false 10, should we call it?
Yeah.
A player that's not actually a 10, more of a traditional target man, but's playing in that 10 role, that bring players in, that sort of intimidates your Chavis, your short players that can't compete with a player like Marouane Fellaini.
But do you think the really good shorter players aren't going to care, are they? Well, Xavi's never going to walk onto a pitch, look at Fellaini and go, "Oh, I'm in trouble today," because he's going to think, "I'm really good." I don't care.
When they get the ball, when Xavi Iniesta, Fabregas, say we're playing against Barca, they got those 3 across the midfield. If we've got Fellaini in there, balls up in the air, they're going to be terrified.
They're not going to put it in the air.
No, they aren't. We
Keep
will.
on deck.
We can kick it in the air, and if they do take a go, if they ever hit it long, any ball in the air, they're terrified. Any set piece, they're terrified. Those kind of players, particularly the Spanish, the Italian, they will hate that big aggressive midfielder because they can't deal with. They're not used to that kind of. Yeah, they're used to a bit of contact and you fall over. Yeah. So if he's up there elbowing people in the face, not what I want to see.
Initially went for Fabregas, which, despite being very unlikely, it was ambitious, and I think people would have been very excited had he been coming in. Do you think Fellaini fits into the bracket of class that Fabregas is in? Are we looking at a like-for-like midfielder, or have we gone, we can't get who we want, and Moyes has gone, well, I used to work with Fellaini, he does a good job, let's go there?
Different style player, a player that will win you duels. He won the 4th most duels in the Premier League last season as a midfielder. He won 276 duels last season.
Squawka stats.
Duels being headed duels, tackles, take-ons, fouls. You know, he was really getting in people's faces, intimidating them. He won 73% of his tackles last season. He won possession in those tackles, which is a great stat for a midfielder. It might not be Fabregas, but he offers you something else, something that we don't have in our squad at the moment. Some just physicality. It's got everything. It's 60% of his headed duels he won. That is that's a great stat right there.
So you think we're going to be buying Fellaini, if we do, as more of an attacking player? What stats have you got? Squawka stats that you can back that up with?
Well, last season Fellaini took 65 shots, which is quite a high number for a midfielder. That's an average of about 2 shots per game with shot accuracy of 60%, which betters both Lampard and Gerrard. So they're the players that we look to as your goal scorer midfielders. Fellaini's got better shot accuracy, takes more shots.
There we go. That says it all, doesn't it? What about form-wise last year when it came to scoring his goals and whatnot? Did he score in patches or?
I'd say he was quite a patchy player. He scored the majority of his goals at the start of the season. It was 3 and 6 in right at the start of the season. Again, 5 and 6 around November time, and then later on in the season he scored another 3 and 6. So it is those patches. Towards the end of the season, he was maybe he was thinking about a move or something was in his head. He wasn't performing as well. But in terms of chances created, consistently creating chances, throughout the season, and he also, he's winning a lot of duels. He wins about 5 aerial duels a game, which is quite a large number.
A lot of headers.
A lot of headers that he's winning. So where do I think we'll fit in? He could play that attacking midfield role. What do you think about that?
I would rather see Kagawa play there. What I would ask you is, you're a man with the stats, Squawka Dave. You think Squawka Dave. You think he'll be in that 10 role? So what do you think that means for the rest of the team? Who's now not going to be on the pitch? What does that mean for Welbeck, Rooney, Kagawa?
Well, obviously Danny Welbeck was awesome against Swansea, scoring 2 goals. Just contribution was awesome throughout the pitch. I think that we could either play him in that 10 role, and Kagawa could maybe go out to the left and play the Pienaar role that Pienaar plays at Everton, obviously. Defensively,
we're turning a bit into Everton, aren't we?
We are slightly turning into Everton, but that's not a bad thing. They were quite good to watch last season. They play not like intricate football in the opposition half. It's get to the opposition half, then bring it down, get it nice and slow, short passing, moving around, that sort of situation. So we could alternatively play Fellaini next to Carrick.
And Leon Osman.
See, we're one thing that we're kind of ignoring here is the fact we're saying who's going to miss out, but it's a big squad, long season. If we do have Fellaini, it's not necessarily meaning Kagawa, Welbeck aren't going to play. It just means we have different options against different teams.
But I think if you're going to splash insulting and derisory amounts of money on players like we are with Fellaini, you're going to play that player because you've spent the money. The player's signed his contract. He's excited. You're not going to then go right bench.
Yeah, no, but I'm not saying put him on the bench. I'm just saying that it doesn't necessarily mean that it just gives us options. Yeah, I'd be happy with that we have options. How often
was he playing in Moyes' team last year?
He played 31 times out of 38 games, so he was a very frequent player. Probably only
did he start all those games?
Started all those games.
Why did he miss the 7?
Injury, probably. You're looking at
and suspension.
And suspension.
Wasn't he?
Yeah. Right, that's it. We've heard all of Squawka Dave's Squawka stats. Sorry if you just got a rustly paper noise. Nothing I can do about it now. Squawka Dave, should we be buying this man or not?
I think so. He won Everton an extra 12 points last season from just his goals. He adds that flexibility in midfield. He can play any of the roles. I think it's just he's a threat.
He's a threat. Jack, your thoughts?
Yeah, I completely agree, to be honest. It wouldn't be my first choice, and I do have kind of my doubts about his over-aggression, but he gives us options. He's dangerous, he will score goals, and he will win his games. So I'd have him. He gives us options.
Yeah, he's all right. I'm not entirely convinced, but sure. It doesn't really matter what I think, though. Let us know what you think. Write things below with your fingers on the keyboard, and then we can read them as comments. It's great how technology works. Should we buy him? Should we not buy him? Should we buy somebody else? Should we sell someone? Who knows? Also, get on Squawka, because they've got amazing Squawka stats that will blow your mind holes. And, wait for it, You waited long enough. Good. They've got an app coming out. It's going to be amazing. Get that when it comes out. Up until then, if you have any questions, and this is ongoing from then as well, let them post them. Post them at Squawka Dave. He's on Twitter. I'm speaking so fast, I'm muddling my words. So I'm going to stop now. Subscribe to Full Time Devils. Goodbye.
Twitter should be called Squawka for Squawka. Really, it's just ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Lingard's been around for some time, and what's always been fantastic about Jesse Lingard is that he's got an incredible football brain. His passing's been fantastic, but he's always been very slight. He's always been overplayed, if you like, by some of the stronger guys, the Ryan Tunnicliffes and so forth.